All right, let's try this video thing. If anybody that's seen any of my videos before, they do make me a little nervous. So I did say that at the end of reading the 5 second rule that I would do my little overview or what I liked about it in video, which honestly is good for me because it challenges me to get out of my comfort zone. But I will not be editing this because I'm not quite ready to watch myself on video. I've done interviews in the past and things like that, and I've actually had friends go out and look at the videos when they get posted and say, hey, was I okay? Because they do make me a little nervous. So I did just finish reading the 5 second rule by Mel Robbins. It looks like this. I've posted about it a couple of times on Tuesdays. And basically, the 5 second rule is a tool that Mel says it's simple, but it's not easy. And I think that's what I struggled when I was first reading it, is because the tool is so simple. But the book really is, to me, it's not so much about the tool, it's about that it's not easy. It's not an easy tool to use. So she talks about that and how you can implement it in your life to do some of the things that are a little bit harder. A lot of it is her talking about how she's used it and other ways that other people have used the tool, which to me is a way of encouraging others to try it out. So some of my favorite things that I want to share. One of my most favorite things that she shared is she talks a lot about courage in this book. And I really connect with that because I practice courage as often as I can. I get picked on sometimes for some of the stuff that I do. Maybe I tell somebody how I feel about them and they haven't earned it, or they haven't told me how they felt. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you said that to somebody. But to me, it's about being authentic and tapping into that courage to be able to do that. And I've also chosen the word courage for the year 2019. So that right there is why this book kind of resonated with me. In the book, she doesn't talk about courage as big, huge things that people do. It's more along the lines of what she calls acts of everyday courage. So she talks about doing small things. One of the ones that I really liked that she talked about was on page 220. And it's just one simple 3 words that really I connected with. And it was, intimacy takes courage. And I feel like in relationships, whether it's friendships or, romantic relationships, that being able to be open and vulnerable, to have that intimacy with somebody, and I'm not talking about, sex or whatever. I'm talking about that deep down connection that you can have with somebody. That takes a lot of courage. But the things that she talks about are small, simple things that you can do. For example, something that I did recently is I walked into the school district's office and I offered my services as a Safe Talk instructor. The person that I talked to gave me this look of, oh my gosh, why are you talking to me about this? But it took a lot of courage for me to do that, and I talked myself into it, and part of the way I did it was using the 5 second rule. And she talks about those acts of courage, they build confidence. I also liked when she talked about procrastination, because she talked about how it's not about laziness. And I think that is really true. It isn't about laziness when people procrastinate. And I also like that she said that not all procrastination is bad. It's not. Some people, they thrive off of that end result of being stressed about something, and waiting sometimes builds better products when you're like in the work environment or something like that. And then she also talks about practicing forgiving yourself if you do procrastinate, which I think is really cool. The last thing that I really liked, the third thing, is she really talks honestly about fear, worry, and anxiety. I still struggle with, I don't know, connecting, coping, I don't even know how to explain it, with my anxiety. It's just something I don't like to talk about. I kind of act like it doesn't exist, even though I mention it all the time, but it's almost in jest, or it's like, oh yeah, anxiety, whatever. But I that's just something I'm just not ready to tackle just yet. So I have a hard time when she wrote a chapter about that. But the other ones that I did really connect with were the fear and the worry. So I really like this book. It does have a lot of testimonials, which I'm going to be honest, I actually skipped over a lot of them because I didn't need to be told why this rule was amazing. I think it's really smart. So if you haven't read it yet with me, go ahead and read the 5 second rule. It's an easy read to me, and one of my tips that I tell people, keep your book with you at all times. So if you're waiting in line, or whatever, you can read your book. So I hope that was helpful, and I really enjoy reading these books.